So temptations, negativity, sarcasm, and why nots. Hey, it's Vegan Tree Hugger here. And these are a lot of things that we deal with, especially as new vegans. It's probably the same thing for people who have been vegan a long time, but since I haven't, I can't speak for that. And I just know, especially for new vegans, it could be hard because you're facing it constantly that, well, what do you mean you can't eat that now? You ate it last week, or you ate it 2 weeks ago, or whatever. Or maybe you ate it yesterday and then today you're telling people, no, I'm vegan now and I'm not going to anymore. They don't get it. So really the question is not why not eat it, but why? Why do we need to eat it? Recently I was in the study room and working on some stuff when a friend came in and threw me a Milky Way Midnight, which has always been my favorite candy bar. And she's like, here you go, I got this for you. And I just kind of looked at it and I'm like, I can't eat that. And she's like, why not? It's midnight, it's midnight. And I just like, no, I can't eat that. What's the first word? And she didn't get it. And finally it's like Milky Way, it's milk. And she's like, oh, that's right, you can't eat that. Well, but do you want it? And I just like, oh, part of me, my whole processes started going, and I was thinking about, it was bought, the damage is done. And I was just sitting there with it sitting on the table while I'm doing stuff, and I kept getting the image of the little calf that can barely stand, barely walk, trying to get to his mother, yet was not allowed to get to his mother. And then all the crying and the calf being taken away and abused so horribly and neglected and having an absolutely miserable life. And I couldn't eat it. I'm like, no, you have to take it. I can't eat that. I was starting to feel ill just at the thought of it. She was like, okay, I'm sorry. And I could tell that she didn't really get it, but that's okay. Aside from any other thing, once you give in and say, well, it's okay just this time, they expect it. You're setting a precedence, and we can't set that precedence. It is not okay, and I cannot give in. I've been weak before in my life, and I am not going to be any longer. I've taken a stand, and I'm going to stand up for this, and I think that's what we really need to get stuck in our mind. Even if we need to completely do those affirmations, they say do the positive affirmations when you wake up and say, I am wonderful, I am beautiful, I am strong. Don't do that. I mean, well, I don't care if you do that, but you need to every day keep telling yourself, there is a purpose for what I'm doing, and I am going to do it. We need to really commit in all parts of us. Back to those calves that are just completely abused. I mean, locked away where they cannot move, where they're in discomfort and pain and being malnourished and without love. If that happened to a human baby, people would be in an uproar at every corner of the earth if that was found. I mean, it's just horrible treatment. And the biggest difference, well, one is that not everybody all over the world gives a damn, but also, if that was happening to a human baby and it was found out, that baby would likely get adopted and get some comforting hands to to embrace that child and try and get it a new life. That's how it would be taken out of that misery. But for that little calf, he got out of the misery, and many millions like him got out of that misery and are still getting out of that misery by death. A very slow and painful, torturous death. So, do I want a Milky Way? No way. No way. This is where I'd love to put in those words, but you know what? I don't know who's going to watch this, and I don't know if there's little kids, and we need to be accessible for everyone. That no, I am not going to be a part of that. I do not want to even ever think of that happening, and it does happen, and it makes me sick. I have always been against veal. When I was 7 or 8 years old is when I learned what veal was. I ate veal before that, and I loved it. My mom was a cook that it tasted wonderful, and I remember I was 7 or 8 years old when I found out what it actually was and how they made it, and was absolutely disgusted and never had any desire for it since. But I never made the connection with the dairy industry. And if you have not made that connection, I have 2 links down in the description bar of videos by Bite Size Vegan that will connect those dots for you. You need to watch them. But the main point of this is that we are getting tempted. We are getting negative responses from people all the time, and we're getting, why not? We need to ask them, as well as ourselves, why? Why would we? There's no reason. So that's all I have to say for today. Peace, guys. Have a great one.